Welcome back to the Wondercat channel, the only channel that looks to cover Pauper content on the weekly. Today we cover Mollusk Amongus, a purple mollusk themed list that has count them, three separate win cons. Starting off with our first win con, Ghoulmon. As our level 6, he's our if all else fails button. A digicost of 3 for an 11k body, when digivolving and when attacking once per turn. For every 10 cards in your trash, your opponent will mill 3 cards. Once per turn, if your opponent has 10 or more cards in trash, this Digimon gets Sec +1 for the turn. Pretty good. Ghoulmon allows us to have a late game that doesn't rely on a high DP or board presence. Outside its inherent Sec +1 effect to swing for multiple security checks and winning through brute force, the card can naturally mill 6 to 9 cards per turn late game, which only gets stronger the longer it stays around. To ensure our Ghoulmon stays around and isn't outclassed by stronger DP decks, we're going to run Xiaomon as our egg. During our turn, while we have 10 or more cards in our trash, this Digimon gains retaliation. One of the major problems with this deck is large body blockers. War Greymon, which is one of the best red top end pieces in the format, literally eats this deck alive, and threatening a level 6 trade or getting a free swing in and stopping them from blocking because they want to keep their level 6 on board is good enough if we're milling the rest of their deck with Ghoulmon. This would be a much better effect if it was all turns, but it puts in enough work that we can justify playing it. To ensure we can still deal with larger scaled threats if we can't build into Ghoulmon, we move into our second win con, which is going to be hand control, and with it playing the full playset of Pandemonium Lost. It's a 6 cost purple option that trashes a card in your opponent's hand if they have 5 or more cards, then deleting a Digimon that's equal to or higher in level than the number of cards they have in hand. So as long as we can keep them below 6 cards in hand, this will always be able to delete a level 6. The lower the number of cards in hand, the more targets we can hit. In security, activate its main effect. This card gives us a decent security bomb and helps with the hand control this deck is built around. Our rookies will also be the starting line for our hand control. Syakomon X is an amazing tempo piece, and if you can stick multiple of these across a turn or two, they become very frustrating to deal with. It's going to Digi on our egg for a cost of 1 or 0 on our Syakomons. When digivolving and at start of main, your opponent may trash a Digimon card in hand. If they don't, gain a memory. Pushing this up from raising and triggering immediately means that we already start taxing the opponent or generating value, and we haven't even done anything yet. This is why multiples can be so problematic. Your opponent can either give up 2 free memory a turn or trash up to 2 Digimon cards. This becomes even more problematic if they draw only tamers and option cards, putting them in an uncomfortable situation of us just gaining this memory for free and giving us very useful information on how their hand looks. They could refuse to discard their Digimon, but again, we gain the free memory. This card is so fun to play with, and stating to the opponent, trash 1, gain 1 every turn, you start to feel like a real villain. Our Syako X also helps enable our Ghoulmon Sec +1 effect. Not only does it fill up our opponent's trash, but it keeps their hands low for our Pandemonium Lost and can potentially generate us memory. S tier little abomination. Love this dude. But to ensure we aren't having to pay for digivolving in the back, our rookies are all Syakos, and luckily we have some really solid inclusions. EX5 has an on play for each Digimon your opponent controls, draw 1, then trash 1 card. This is a lot better than you'd expect, and it's purely because of the period in its effect. This is not a draw 2, trash 2 type effect. This is a draw X, trash 1. So obviously he has some great on-play value here, but his true value lays in his inherited. All turns once per turn, when an effect plays an opponent's Digimon, gain a memory. This is crazy strong and straight up counters blue decks going wide. This also does incredibly well into CS type decks looking to abuse the effects of Edimon, Makiko Date, or Greymon, so this inherited can be a real game changer. The fact that it's all turns makes it significantly stronger too, since we can trigger this during our turn as well, something that we'll go over soon. We of course play the playset because the card is cracked, and with it digivolving for free on our egg, we can easily put it into raising and start building up into our Syako X with a sweet inherited underneath. Our last Syako is EX8, another playset, another 1k body that on deletion, draw 1 and trash 1. Digis for free on our egg and inherited once per turn when attacking, delete an opponent's level 3 Digimon. It is the most underwhelming of our 3 rookies, but it's still a fine card, offering removal on attack. The extra card filtering is also a nice touch on deletion, allowing us to play aggressively with it if necessary, attacking, expecting it to die, then getting the looting effect. It's okay. Keeping on our hand control theme, we're going to play 3 copies of Tarnished Hero. Thematically great, showing our Ghoulmon in the art. It's a 3-cost option that, when played, deletes a level 3. On delay, your opponent may trash an option card. If they don't, gain 2 memory. This card's value appreciates and depreciates a lot, depending on when you play it. So it has an incredibly low floor, but a very high ceiling. Very often, you're not playing this expecting to get the 2 memory later, since most people would prefer to deny you the 2 memory and just trash an option card. But again, this is the unironic beauty of Tarnished Hero. Most options in this instance are going to be your opponent's removal options or their own memory boosts. So if you're trading them, trashing a memory boost so you don't get your 2 memory, you've essentially had them trash a card, which is, haha, yay, more hand control, stopping them from having their own +2 memory on a later turn, and potentially deleted one of their rookies. If you go second, this is an amazing turn 1 play, deleting their on-play Searcher rookie and setting up a potential Siako X to push out next turn, forcing your opponent to trash both 1 Digimon and an option card, or gaining 3 memory. Crazy, crazy tempo. Its security effect just puts it onto the board. Considering the best part about the card is the hand control or memory gain of it, missing out on the level 3 deletion isn't super important here. We may as well go over our other memory boosts with 3 copies of Mist Memory. 3 play cost purple that on play trash the top 2 cards of your deck, then draw 1, and on delay gain 2 memory. These copies ensure that even if we aren't getting the extra memory out of our Tarnished Heroes, we still have a couple memory boosts we can fall back on. This increases our memory boost count to 6 total and gives us a solid chance at having a couple in security. Our level 4s don't relieve pressure on our opponent though. With 4 copies of BT15 Geisomon, this card grew on me a lot. It's a 2-cost Digi blocker, 5k body that when digivolving or on play, your opponent may trash a Digimon card in hand. If they don't, gain a memory. If this is digivolved on top of Siako X after its start of main effect, we have either free digivolved into this, if our opponent has refused to trash on both, or we have trashed up to 2 of their cards already. If we have a Tarnished on board, we can crack this as well and have them potentially trash a 3rd card from hand this turn. During your turn, this Digimon can't attack if your opponent has no Digimon. This sounds super frustrating, and kind of, you'd feel like it makes the card bad, but it really doesn't actually make that much of an impact, since he's often used as a mid-game blocker, and we want to attack with our level 5s and level 6s, so suspending this to attack with just isn't really what we want to do anyway. Inherited all turns, same effect as our EX5 Siako, gaining 1 memory whenever an effect plays an opponent's Digimon. This card is super juicy, and digivolving into this on one of our Siako X's, or keeping a Siako X on board as a floodgate rookie of sorts, and digivolving from another Siako just makes the early game for this deck particularly frustrating to deal with. Our next level 4, and one of the funniest parts of the deck, is our playset of EX5's Octomon. When digivolving or on play, if there are 4 or more total Digimon in play, play a 3k DP token on your side of the board suspended. If there are 3 or less Digimon, play it to your opponent's board suspended. It can't unsuspend, and on deletion, trash 1 card. This card naturally combos with our EX5 Siako, giving us a stack when it wants to digivolve. We play the token suspended to their side, Siako will trigger, giving us a memory, then we can swing with our Octomon into the token to delete it, triggering its effect to force our opponent to trash a card from hand. Octomon it's such a fun card to play around with, and helps keep on top of our hand control win con. We're also going to play 2 copies of Violet. Of course, she's a memory setter, allows us to trash an option to draw a card at start of main. We play a lot of options in this deck. If you can't find these or think they're too expensive, they're reaching almost $5 Australian right now. That is crazy. That's around 3 USD. You can very easily substitute these in with battle NPCs. Battle NPC, throw a rookie under itself when played, drawing a card on a later turn, sacking itself. You can play the rookie out for free at the start of main phase, as long as you control no Digimon. They're really just here to play as our memory setter. Of course, Violet's going to be a little bit better, can help us dig through the deck more, but it's okay. Battle NPC still fine here. Purely here just to make sure we don't get memory starved, to be honest. I don't really think the deck needs it, but we'll find out why later. Our last level 4, 2 copies of Geisho X. It's a digicost of 3 on our level 3s, or a digicost of 0 on our Geisho. When digivolving, if Geisho is underneath it, trash any 3 materials from a Digimon or Tamer your opponent controls, then one of their Digimon or Tamers with no materials can't suspend till the end of their next turn. Inherited, when attacking, draw 1 and trash 1. This card isn't, like, super great, all things considered, but it does give us a little more board control when we can put it on top of our Geisho and can technically remove a potential attacker for a turn. It's pretty good also into Alliance themed decks, because even if it's not something that they necessarily want to swing with, stopping it from suspending means they can't alliance with that body either, so it's not bad. Next, we get into our level 5s and our last win con of the deck. Starting off with BT4's Neo Devimon, this bad boy is a 7k body digicost of 3, and during an opponent's turn, whenever they would play a Tamer, gain 3 memory. What is this effect, man? Like, this stops level 4s that play Tamers for free, stealing memory from your opponent in the process. Like, imagine they want to play, what's a free, level 4 Argomon. If you don't control a rhythm, put a rhythm on board. Ah, yes. I'm going to take 3 memory off you for that. Seems good. You want to play an Owen for free off a Demetramon. I'm going to take 3 memory off you for that. Or you can just play your free Tamer Digimon Digivolution and just not play the Tamer, and you miss out on getting your Tamer. But, you know, it turns hard playing a check Tamer from a 3 cost to a 6 cost and a memory setter from a 4 cost to a 7 cost. Absolutely diabolical. Inherited during an opponent's turn, and note this is not a once per turn, whenever an opponent's Tamer becomes suspended, gain 1 memory. This card gives you great tempo into Tamer-centric decks like Adventure and Hunters. He's our less ideal level 5 though, and how crazy is that? The fact that he's the less ideal one, and he is really strong, but he's often going to be overlooked and not the level 5 you want to digivolve into, because that level 5 is going to be EX8's Marine Devimon. A digicost of 3, a 7k body again, with Scapegoat, and when attacking, once per turn, if you have 1 or more memory, you may play a level 4 or lower Digimon with the DS, Mollusk, or Crustacean trait from your trash for free. Now, this effect hits everything we run. All of our level 3s, all of our level 4s. And this effect piles on extra hand destruction by playing out our BT15 Geishos from trash. In the event it would die to a security check or a block, we can always Scapegoat just deleting another Digimon to prevent its deletion. Or, you know, we can just like, EX8 Siakomon works really well here as a potential reanimation target. We can swing with Marine Devi, play out Siako. If Marine lives, we can Digi Siako into a Siako X to trigger its when digivolving effect, continue to rip apart your opponent's hand or gain more memory. If he were to die, we trigger Scapegoat, deleting Siako, and gain its on deletion effect, drawing 1 and trashing 1. If there's 2 or less Digimon on board, we can swing with Marine Devi, play out Octomon from trash to free play the token to the opponent's board suspended, guaranteeing that another card to be trashed from their hand on its deletion. We can then end our turn, digivolving it into a Neo Devi to limit the options of our opponents during their turn. To ensure maximum damage from our Devi boys, we play the full playset of Darkwing Delusions. A 1-cost purple option that trashes the top 3 cards of your deck, then granting one of your Digimon with Devimon in name Sec +1 for the turn. When checked in security, it'll do the same thing. So this is not going to be super great for the Sec +1, but it trashes cards, which helps load up our trash for our reanimation targets with our Marine Devimon. This card gives us some solid power in the level 5 slot and helps fill up our trash for Marine's Devi when attacking, as well as Ghoulmons. Unfortunately, due to Marine Devimons, if you have 1 or more memory claws on his when attacking effect, it's important we play this and keep 1 memory before attacking to ensure that we can both swing for 2 checks and play out a body for free. Our last card in the deck, a single copy of Demonic Disaster, because if we are able to swing for 2 checks with our Marine Devimons and keep another body on board, using Demonic Disaster, we can delete that smaller body, when played off Marine Devimon, to unsuspend himself, making him a potential 4-check machine in one turn for the small cost of only 2 memory. Its security effect allowing us to play a rookie from trash for free, stopping any on-play effects of said Digimon from triggering. It's a great chance to replay any of our Siago X's from trash. If it lives to the next turn, it's just free real estate, man. All in all, and this deck has 19 cards that will force the opponent to choose between trashing cards or giving us memory, some triggering more than once. 22 cards that will help generate memory in some way, shape, or form, and from memory, I don't believe this includes our memory setters. That is crazy. 11 level 5 and 6s that have the potential to swing for 2 checks or more during a turn, and 10 sources of extra card draw outside our obvious digivolving. The potential to mill your opponent to an early loss as well. Wild. So between our hand hate, our milling, and multi-check swings, this deck comes with a multitude of interaction that makes it both fun to pilot and really interactive to play against. I'll also be posting a blue variation of this deck later on in the week because it does run quite differently. It's much more aggressive but skips on the mass hand control, so keep an eye out for updates on that one. This deck goes to show, despite all the previous lists that I've covered so far, there is still so much design space uncovered that this format can offer. Let me know in the comments down below if you're planning on attending the BT24 pre-release. It should be coming up the end of this week, I believe. And if there's anything in particular you're excited to get. Until next time, keep on building them Pauper decks. Ta-ta.